Hello, how's it going? Welcome to the channel. My name is Cassandra and this is where I do stuff in an attempt to make myself feel better and then put it online for my entertainment and yours. If that tickles your pickle, then go ahead and subscribe if you haven't already. But if you're into short, succinct, straight to the point, very informational videos, this is not going to be that, okay? Like, you're absolutely welcome still to join us, of course, but like, the reason I'm doing this is so that I don't have to spend loads of time like editing and in post-production, okay? So please don't tell me that it would be better if I edited these videos down. I know, I just don't want to. Okay, cool, great. How are you today? I'm struggling. Like, I had such a bad sleep last night, which is very, very normal for me. I usually don't sleep well, but you know that way, like some days it's like whatever and you're okay, and then others it's just like struggle bus. I'm on the struggle bus today. I hope you're doing a little bit better than that. But yeah, so then I thought I would come on here and yeah, try and cheer myself up. And almost a year ago, my boy Mike requested more dating advice. So this is what we are gonna look at today. Cool. So Reddit. Let's go then to dating advice. See what we got and respond. Weekly event success thread. What? This doesn't seem like dating advice. Finally asked my crush out and got rejected. Oh, let's take a look at this, shall we? Let's take a look. Okay. Okay. It's like 20 million. Oh my god, why does it always start like this? Let me make it a little bit bigger for y'all in case you can't see it. And also because I can't see it. Okay, finally asked my crush out and got rejected. 20-year-old male finally asked my 20-year-old female crush out, who's also my co-worker, and got rejected. I'm in complete shock and really upset. Why? All the signals I was getting, everyone noticing and asking if I was going to make a move, I finally worked up the courage and got let down. Got let down very gently, but still let down. Pretty much I got the "you're really sweet" and whatnot, but I'll have to see. I literally can't bear the thought of having to see her after this shit. Like, why lead me for this long if you're not interested? It is what it is. Have to find a way to move on. Okay, for one, this to me doesn't really fit in dating advice because he's not asked us a question. He doesn't seem to be looking for advice. But this annoys me for a few reasons, right? So being in complete shock, does this person think that they're like so great that no one would ever reject them? Everyone gets rejected sometimes. It's okay, it's normal, it's fine. Being really upset, that's okay too. You know, you're allowed to have your feelings, that's fine. But like getting all the signals and everyone noticing, what signals? Like, be more specific, right? Because I can understand, like, it can be a bit annoying if like other people are egging you on and they've kind of convinced you that the other person is interested and yeah, you should definitely go for it, whatever. Like, I can understand how you feel a little bit gooped by that. But like, some people are just nice. Do you know what I mean? Like, what signals are you talking about here? And like, even if this person, like, you obviously have, you know, the OP obviously has the impression that the co-worker liked them, but when you're like asking someone out, they have the right to say no thank you regardless. So when he says, literally can't bear the thought of having to see her after this shit, I mean, maybe they're just like upset and venting or whatever, but it comes across to me like, oh, that's bullshit that I got rejected. And I don't like that. And again, they don't really give any more details or like specifically ask for advice. Like they say, it is what it is. You have to find a way to move on. So yeah, I think you've kind of answered your own non-question there, but I'm kind of shocked about that, to be honest. What are other folks saying? You need to let it go. You shot your shot and she turned you down. Don't bother, mention it to her again. I agree. What else? You offered expecting no or yes. You got one. Exactly. You'll feel better in a few weeks. Yeah, exactly. Okay, good. Seems like we're in agreement here. What else? When people say, be friends with women first, what does that actually mean? Isn't it bad to be friends with that hope in mind? This one seems interesting. Let's look at this. Oh, it's already bigger. Great. Okay. When people say be friends with women first, what does that actually mean? Isn't it bad to be friends with that hope in mind? So I've heard this phrase of being just friends first, but every time I do that, they just want friendship and make it clear it will never be more. So essentially what people refer to as the friend zone. I also hear women complain about men who ask them out when they were just friends. For some reason, being valued for more than just friendship is bad. Interesting wording, but that's beside the point. I've also heard making intentions known first is good. But which is it? Because I have women friends who I have no interest in dating. The women I do find cute, I approach. I talk to them friendly. I'll try to compliment or flirt, but they either want nothing to do with me or they just want to be friends. So I don't understand. Is it just make intentions known and be friends? Because I can't approach a cute girl and just be friends if my interest is dating or even finding a fuck buddy. Like, I'm not going to approach women I don't find attractive. If I just want friendship, which I have with some women, then I don't want to date them. Like, I'm not going to be approaching women I find attractive to be friends with unless they just happen to be around other friends and are part of a friend group. I'm not going to be approaching women I find attractive to be friends with. Unless they... Okay, so I think what this person is basically saying is that they wouldn't just go up to a woman randomly unless they were interested in somehow dating them. They wouldn't just go up to someone just wanting to be friends. Okay. Which most friendships have come from that, like approaching someone as part of a friend group, but dating-wise, I don't approach strangers for no reason, and I don't think many people do. TLDR, what does it mean when people say, be friends with women first? Because being only friends and hoping for more is also frowned upon. I always thought being direct and upfront was the best option, especially if you don't know them. Like, obviously talk to them normally, but the friend thing confuses me. I think this is a good question actually, and I think it's like totally fair enough. I don't see pronouns here, so I'm just going to refer to OP as they. But they, from this post, seem to be interested or at least asking specifically about women. Okay. So let's do what we do, or what I do, and go through this like piece by piece, okay? Because there's a lot to break down in this. So this person is essentially heard like, whoa, slow your roll, like don't just go straight in and be like, yo, do you want to go out with me? Like, you know, be nice to a woman first, be friends with her first. But they're confused because they've heard that other people, like women, don't like it when their friends like suddenly will ask them out and stuff like that. The thing that I said was interesting is when they say, I also hear women complain about men who ask them out when they were just friends. For some reason, being valued for more than just friendship is bad. That's really interesting because the wording that I would be more used to is like being seen as more than friends, or like being considered as more than a friend. But when this person says being valued for more than just friendship, I mean, I guess, or I suspect that that comes from a good place in terms of that, look, even if I want to date a woman, even if I'm interested in that, or like having a fuck buddy or whatever, I still value that woman as a person. Like, they still have value, they're not then a thing, which I think is really nice. Because I think that's also a common thing that happens, right? Because like, going into like my personal experience in like stories or whatever, one pattern that I've noticed that really disappoints me more than anything else, but also is annoying, is like, there's been so many occasions where I have been, or I thought that I was friends with a guy, and then at some point they will express to me that they're interested in being more than just friends, and I say, okay, thanks for letting me know, I don't feel the same way, I'm happier just being friends with you. And then they just fall off the face of the fucking planet and just stop being friends with me, stop talking to me, stop whatever. And I can understand if it's like, oh, okay, my feelings are hurt, or like, I still have feelings and I need some time to get over that because being around you right now will make it like difficult or confusing, so I need space. Like, that's okay, that's fine, and I can understand that. But it's like multiple occasions, like literally it's just like, oh, so then like I'm not gonna get anything from you, like you're not gonna do sex things with me, oh fine then, like bye, see you. It's like, what the fuck? Like, I thought we were friends, but apparently we fucking weren't. Do you know what I mean? So I mean, if that's what this person is referring to, that they've heard that, you know, women complain, for me it's not an issue of like, oh, I thought we were friends, why are you asking me out? It's, I thought we were friends, why now do you want nothing to do with me just because I don't want to fuck you? Do you know what I mean? That to me is really shitty, really slimy, and just like really bad. And it seems to me from this person's post that they also don't want to start a friendship on a false pretense. It seems to me that, you know, they say, what did they say, like, oh yeah, I always thought being direct and upfront was the best option, especially if you don't know them. I personally agree with that. I think being direct and upfront is cool and good. Like, that's the way I live my life. But I'm not like most people, so it's kind of hard to say, right? And especially if you don't know the person, well, like, how are you gonna fucking know? Anyway, let's continue. I've also heard making intentions known first is good, but which is yeah, so obviously if you see someone or you're around someone and you find them attractive, then you're going to approach them and stuff, right? So they say, I'll try to compliment and flirt, but either they want nothing to do with me or they just want to be friends. I can't approach a cute girl and just be friends if my interest is dating them. I'm not going to approach women if they're attractive. If I just want friendship and I don't want to date them, like, look at this, right? Because this is confusing to me, just the way it seems like they're about to start saying something and then they just kind of stop. So if I just want friendship, which I have done with some women, then I don't want to date them. But I'm not going to be approaching women I find attractive to be friends with unless they just happen to be around with other friends. Right, okay, yeah, so they're saying, like, it's not like I don't want to have women as friends, but like I'm not just going to go up to someone. That I understand. I think most people do the same thing as OP. From what I observe, most people do the same thing. But another way in which I'm very different, and I told this like years and years ago to a couple of colleagues, and they were just laughing at me. They were like, what the fuck, Sandra, like, what are you doing? Right, okay, so context, right? So I'm like woman-leaning, woman label-accepting, non-binary. I use the pronouns she and they. And I'm pan, which basically means like I don't really care what sex or gender someone is. That's not going to automatically exclude them from, whether or not I find them attractive. And many years ago, I was in a steady, stable, serious relationship. And I was out in the club, having a good time, whatever. And on this particular occasion, but not uncommon, a guy approached me at the bar. And I believe that, again, he made his intentions clear. I think he just asked if he could buy me a drink or something like that. And I said, sure, as long as you don't mind that I have a boyfriend. Because I don't see any problem or issue with just randomly meeting people and being friends with them, right? I don't think that's a problem. And then on this occasion he was like, oh, okay, cool, no worries. But then we were still just having a chat and stuff. So it wasn't like he was like, ah, okay, cool, I'm off. He still wanted his drink, I still wanted my drink, right? So he was like, right, yeah, no worries. We were just chatting and stuff like that. Whatever. And then I think at some point we must have been hanging out, I don't know if we ended up dancing together or whatever. But then at some point I think I had said something sure, yeah, if you want to hang out again or whatever, we can exchange numbers. And then we did. And then we actually did hang out again, in the club. We also ran into each other at the local Marks and Spencers, where we both worked near and stuff. And that was totally cool and fine, right? And then my boyfriend at the time, when I came home, because we were living together, when I came home, I told him about it. I was like, by the way, full disclosure, met some guy last night, obviously told him I had a boyfriend, but then we exchanged numbers in case we want to hang out or whatever. And he was like, okay, cool. He was he obviously knew me and he understood why I did it and that there was nothing shady going on, but he was like, okay, fine, it's not a problem, but I kind of don't really like the idea of you going out and exchanging numbers with a guy, because from my perspective of being a guy, knowing the experiences of guys, and also basically locker room shit talk with other guys, he was like, I know that a lot of guys will kind of act as if they're going to be your friend and be like, yeah, sure, let's exchange numbers anyway. But secretly then in the back of their mind, they're still hoping that either you break up and then they can get in, or that you don't really give a shit and you'll end up doing stuff with them in the end anyway. So he was like, for that reason, I'm kind of uncomfortable. I'm not going to tell you to stop doing it, but I don't really like it. And I was like, okay, fair enough, whatever. I kind of, was like, all right, let me think about that. And again, this wasn't the first time I'd done this. I don't see any problem with it, right? And then so I was telling my coworkers about that. And that's where they were like, Cassandra, what the fuck? You can't just go out and get people's numbers. And I was like, why? I don't see the problem with that, because again, if that was a woman, how is that any different? Well, just because that, they're a woman? Again, I'm pan anyway, so I don't give a fuck. And even if I wasn't, it really bothers me, this thing of oh, men and women can't be friends. They can, if they're not shitty. Do you know what I mean? So anyway, my point is, I think it's okay, but I know a lot of other people don't. Yeah, whatever, moving on. Okay, so TLDR, what does it mean when people say beef? Oh yeah, this is the also side as well. But dating wise, I don't approach strangers for no reason, and I don't think many people do. Okay, so what I also do, I do talk to strangers that I don't want to date. Best example is when I go to karaoke. So story time. No, not story time. But I've always been interested in karaoke. I really, really enjoy going and watching it, because it's just so sweet and pure when someone goes up on stage and sings, and it's not about how good they are, but because you know, a lot of people are like, oh, can't do karaoke, I don't want to sing, I'm not good at singing. But like, you don't even have to be good at it, right? Because my favourite thing about karaoke is seeing someone get on stage and just having like the fucking time of their life. Do you know what I mean? Just like, yeah, I'm here, I'm loving it. And it's so nice. Like, that's what I really, really enjoy. But for a long time, I was like afraid of going up myself and singing. Like, I was always super nervous. Like, I would have to, like, you know, I would wait and I'd have a couple of drinks. Then by the time I got my name in, whatever, it'd be like near the end. And then by that point, I'd want to do another one, but it's too late. Anyway, what's my point in this story? So then, right, at some point a few years ago, I was like, do you know what? I don't want to be afraid of doing karaoke anymore. I want to, like, learn how to not be afraid and start doing karaoke, start singing, because I do enjoy it and I want to do it. But the problem is, again, there's a lot of people who don't want to go to karaoke. They think that they have to sing and they don't want to sing and blah, 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 whatever. So I started going alone. I just went to karaoke on my own a lot. And what's also cool, I don't know what it is. I don't know if there's any causation, but I notice a kind of correlation with, like, I feel like a lot of people go to karaoke alone. And I guess there's like a certain type of person that will do that, right? And that's nice, because I feel like those people are a little bit, you know, different from like the norm or whatever. Like, maybe more open to stuff. They maybe think differently, like the same way that I do. So I've met a lot of people at karaoke, like, just having no interest in like dating or anything like that, but just, you know, either they're also there by themselves and, you know, then you just get to chatting or whatever, or like, you know, they're in a group or you're in a group or whatever, and, you know, like, it's happened that, for example, when I'm by myself, like, someone will come chat to me and then they'll invite me to join their group. It's also happened that, like, I really like to cheer people on as well when they're on stage, especially if they don't seem that confident. Like, I'm like, oh, you know, and like shout their name and stuff like that. And then through that, you know, like, sometimes then after they come and chat to me and stuff and whatever, and I just think it's nice. So yeah, I do approach people. But I think OP is right. I think most people don't just approach strangers, like, just with the intention of being friends. I think this is true, and I think especially as well for women who in most modern Western societies are unfortunately very used to being objectified, and just like having people being really shitty to them. I think it can be somewhat jarring or annoying or like unsolicited, you know, for someone to just come up to you and be like, you know, you wanna fucking whatever. Because like, I've also been on like the U-Bahn, or you know, that's what they call the subway in Germany. I've also like been on the U-Bahn and a guy like literally just came up to me, put his phone in my face and went, "Can I have your number?" And I had my earphones in, so I took one out. I was like, "What? Sorry?" He was like, "Can I get your number?" Just like that. I was like, "No." And then he went, oh. And then he just like went to get off. It was like, and like, one, like, hi, how are you? Two, like, even if I wanted to like fucking chat to him or whatever, like, he's literally about to like fucking jump off the U-Bahn. So like, that's flawed. Although I can understand that you maybe wanted to wait till the last minute in case this happened, so you wouldn't have to just fucking sit there and like look at me or whatever, which is fucking gross, by the way. He was staring at me before that too. Don't do that. And then three, like, oh, like, what, like, why do we act like that? Like, he's like, I'm sorry, but he's obviously not the kind of person that I want to be hanging out in any capacity anyway, if that's how you're gonna react to a fucking rejection, you know, like that first post we read where it's like, oh, what's this bullshit? You know, it's like, don't do that. Don't fucking, like, oh my god. So, let's answer the question, shall we? What does it mean when people say be friends with women first? I mean, I can't speak for everyone, but from you know, just my personal opinion, from my perspective, because again, I agree that, you know, you shouldn't start a friendship on false pretenses. If you were only ever interested in something else, then that's not fair. And again, you know, I advocate for being upfront from the start. Assuming that this person is talking about, you know, like going up to strangers, so, you know, like in the club or whatever, maybe at a party and stuff like that. From my perspective, I interpret that as meaning like, just be nice to them and treat them like a fucking person, like a human being. Like, give them a fucking greeting before you hit out with, can I get your number? Do you know what I mean? Like that guy, like, oh, can I get your number? Like, what am I supposed to base this on? Do you know what I mean? Like, what kind of person just will like give their number out to just anybody without any like lead up? Do you know what I mean? So for me, for example, you know, like at the bar, in the club or whatever, I'm perfectly fine with someone just striking up a conversation. Do you know what I mean? Like I even as well, like I've turned people down and then bought them and all their friends shots. Do you know what I mean? Because it's like, it's that thing of just being open, just being like friendly and genuine and just like showing that you're not an asshole, which I think from this person's post, I think that they try not to be an asshole, and I respect that. So for me, you know, again, take the example, you're at the club, you're at the bar, wherever, or even if like, you know, you spot someone over there, you like their dance moves and you want to go chat to them. For me, being friends with women first would be like just saying, oh hey, how are you doing? Like, are you having a good time? My name is so and so. Depending on what the scenario is, you know, like, can I get you a drink? Or like, oh, are you here with friends? Or, I mean, not do you come here often, because that's a bit cheesy, but you know, if it was something like, yeah, I fucking love this song, or something like that, or like, hey, nice moves, you know, because like I've literally like on the dance floor, I've like happened to make eyes contact with someone else, and then we're like, yeah, whatever, and then we just, you know, dance up to each other and stuff, and just, you know, just that way. So to me, it's again treating them like a person, just being like nice, and not just being like feeling them up straight away, for example, because like I've also been in situations where I've been like at a bar and then I got up from my table to go to the bar and order another drink, and I've literally just had people grab me, block my way, try and stop me from going past, and I'm like, do not fucking touch me. That's like, don't do that. That's not cool. And then it's the ones who like as well are like, oh, you know, what's your problem? Or like, oh, smile, it could be worse. Like, fuck off. When there's people like you in the world, why would I smile? Do you know what I mean? It's like, don't ever fucking tell someone to smile. Like, oh my God. So do you know what I mean? I think this may be, you know, this advice of be friends with women first, I think it maybe comes from the perspective of people who are used to having randoms just come up to them and then literally just like expect that they're going to jump in this act together. Like, don't ever do that. But yeah, just, you know, be nice and friendly. And I would say, like, depending on this person's kind of vibe, because they were saying, you know, they wouldn't go up to strangers for no reason. Some of them just wants to be friends or whatever. For me, if you're like nice, and then you like make your intentions clear in a nice way, and then you're rejected, for me, it's okay for you to be like, okay, fair enough, have a good night, and then walk away. Like, if you don't want anything else, that's totally fine. Like, feel free to leave. But also if you're like, man, that's too bad, you know, but then you get to chatting about other stuff and maybe you can still be friends, for me, that's totally okay as well. And I really do think that if you treat people like, you know, a human being, if you bother to like introduce yourself and be like, hey, how's your night going? Or like, oh, what are you drinking? Something like that. Spark up an actual conversation. Don't just jump into the proposition. For me, I think that's fine. How would I feel, on the other hand, if someone had specifically tried to be friends with me and then waited and then said, that they were interested in something else. Well, like I say, I've got really bad experiences with that in terms of that those people then just fuck off and fall off the face of the planet. So it turns out we were never actually fucking friends in the end anyway. That's why I don't like that. I think if you're friends with someone first and then you realise that you're attracted to them and then you ask if there's potential for something else, and then when they say no thank you, then you're still friends, I think that's okay. I think that's fine. Because, you know, you started out with like just being friends anyway, and then you only realise later that you wanted more, so that's fine. But I do think it's a bit fucking sly to meet someone already knowing that you want to date them, but pretend that you don't, so that you can fucking like slide in at some point. I think that's really skeezy, and I don't like that, because that to me is deceptive and really not cool. All right. Good. That was a good one. That was a good one. I like that. Okay, let's look at some more. Oops, I'm on the wrong thing. Let's get this one. Okay. Let's see if one more meaty one, substantial one. Girl leaves me alone at a bar to be with her friends who are also there, then blocks me when I get home. I'm interested. I'm intrigued. I've been talking to this girl since December. We met off Bumble, which is like one of these apps, right? Went on a couple dates, and she's been over a few times already. This past month, we've seen each other at least once a week. Wait, this was in December. Okay, just posted 1 day ago, so it's February now, so like 2 months. They've been seeing each other for about 2 months. They went on just a couple of dates. She's been over a few times already, but this past month, we've seen each other at least once a week, so that's more than a few, and texting pretty frequent, but not all day, because who's got time for that, do you know what I mean? Anyway, yesterday she invites me to the gym. I think, okay, cool, yeah, I already invited her to mine, and we had a little workout, so not totally out of the blue, right? I go to her, and all the juice heads approach her as she's walking between machines. Okay, so everybody at the gym, like, they go up to her at the gym. We're not together, nor even working out the same exercises, so I don't mind. Yeah, you don't have to be like chasing her around the place. Cool. She's talking to them, and I just kind of mind my business. Left me alone for a few minutes at a time, which is normal. Although I got the weird vibe I was invited to be shown off. Okay? To be shown off or to be made jealous? Because like, if you were being shown off, then she would be like, oh, here's my whatever. Right? Whereas if it's to be made jealous, then it would be like, oh yeah, I've got, you know, other people interested. Anyway, tonight she wants to go for drinks nearby. I say yes. She changes the locale to a place twice as far that she's... What? She changes the locale to a place twice as far that she's familiar with, and I agree. Not important. When we get there, the ambience is like a loud, packed bar, whereas I thought we were just going to sit down, have a drink and talk. Her friend is conveniently there, and they say hi, whatever, but she goes to RR with them? Is this when like Americans say R&R? Because I don't know what that means. Okay, let's continue. Mind you, we've each gone away to grab drinks. Although she gets hers very fast, and I joke that she knew the bartender. Also, I have no idea where she went in both instances, as she goes to get drinks and with her friends for the RR. This is hard for me to read. So finally she comes back and we're just there chit-chatting until her friends come back again and she leaves with them again to grab drinks. I look around the bar, which is literally right next to us, and I don't see her, which doesn't make sense because that's where I stood to get us drinks. So at some point, I felt like she just used me as collateral to hang out with her friends at her old stomping grounds. I felt incredibly stupid being there waiting alone half the time. I text her, hey, I'm going home, have fun with your friends, I'll have your stuff at my place. She keeps texting me, wait for me, okay? Wait, are you leaving? Are you going to wait for me? Then I say, how much longer do I have to wait? I was in shock when she replied, let me finish my drink and I'll be out. At that point, I realised she did not give a singular fuck. So I drove home and left her stuff outside my place. I drove her there. I felt really guilty doing that, but also absolutely undermined and disrespected given how compromising I've been with her, as in that she changed the place twice and they were like, yeah, okay, fine. Now, I'm blocked everywhere. So when was this? This was tonight. Posted a day ago, and now they're blocked. I'm just interested to know, like, how long did it take for the woman in question to block OP? Like, if that was because they left without her, or because her stuff was left outside. I'm not sure. Anyway, let's go through it. Okay, again, there's a lot in this one as well. So let's take it piece by piece. Okay. So they're just sort of dating and stuff for like 2 months, but they're not. It seems like they're not together. You know, pretty cash. And then they were at the gym, and again, OP. I don't see pronouns, so I'm just gonna call them they. So they were at the gym and they were both kind of like doing their own thing. The woman was getting attention from other people. OP isn't really fussed by that, which I think is good because, like, whatever, she can do what she wants, not a big deal. Like, you're there to work out, not hang out, you know. But then I don't know, because like so like, do you invite someone to the gym because you want to work out together, or like you want to like chat shit in between sets, or because like you need accountability and if you say that you're going to meet someone there it means you have to go? Either way, OP is fine with her doing her own thing at the gym, which I think is good. I'm in agreement with that as well, but OP somehow got the weird vibe that there was an ulterior motive, let's say, to their being invited to the gym, but whatever. And then tonight she wants to go for drinks nearby. I say yes. But what did she actually say? Because it seems like, because they say like the place is really loud, but I thought we were there to talk, and her friend is conveniently there and they say hi, but then she goes off with them. So I mean, don't get me wrong, right? I think whether or not it was supposed to be like a gathering of multiple people, or it was just supposed to be the two of them, I do think it's a little bit weird that, one, she just goes off with other people without like inviting them to join. Like, hey, you know, my friends are over there, or they've got a table over there, like come, you know, this is this person, this is that, and then you can all kind of chat as a group, you know. Like there could have been a misunderstanding in terms of that, like OP might have thought that it was just a date, the two of them, when actually like it was always going to be a group. Or they might have met the group when they were there, but as I say, I do think it's a wee bit weird for her to have gone off and not have invited OP to join them as well. I do think that's kind of rude, to be honest. And then they say, mind you, we've each gone away to grab drinks. I personally find that a wee bit weird as well, because if they've specifically gone to this place together, why are they separately trying to get drinks? Like, to me, it seems like more usual to like say, hey, let's go get a drink, and then you go to the bar together, right? so I'm a bit confused as to why they're separating to go and get drinks, and then they're apparently going to like rendezvous later once they've got their drinks. That seems weird. But anyway, she gets her fast. I joke that she knows the bartender. I have no idea where she went to get the drinks, or where she's going with her friends. So finally, when she comes back, then she leaves again. Like, she just keeps like going away. So basically, OP's getting the impression like, why am I even here? Like, do you want to spend time with me or not? Because I might as well just fucking leave, because you're just always like going off all the time and you're not even including me, right? Which I think is fair enough. Like, I would be kind of pissed at that as well. I'd be like, yo, so you're just gonna fucking leave me standing here? Like, it's one thing if OP also runs into someone and they're having a chat, and then she's like, oh, I'll be back in a little minute, you know, because she sees that they're in conversation, and that's why she's not like, here, come with me, you know? I can understand if that's the case, but it seems like OP was just completely left on their own, which I don't think is very nice. Let me see. So at some point, I felt like she just used me as collateral to hang out with her friends. I don't really understand what that means. Like, if she wanted to just hang out with her friends, why wouldn't she just go with her friends? But also, if she specifically invited OP, why is she not hanging out with OP at all? But maybe it's one of these things where it's like, she thought those people would probably be there, but for some reason didn't want to actually ask them or talk to them about it, or she wants to seem like she's got other friends too. She didn't want to just go by herself, and then she was like, who can I get to go with me? Do you know what I mean? Not the kind of person who goes to karaoke on their own. Anyway, so OP's feeling like stupid just like being there on their own. So at some point they've had enough, and they're like, I'm going home, see you. Which I think is fair enough, because they don't even fucking know where she is in this place, so it's not like she can just like whisper in her ear like, hey, you know, I'm gonna head home, see you later. Like, they don't fucking know where she is. So I think it's fair enough, one, for them to say, I've had enough, I'm away, and two, for them to bother to actually tell the person, you know, I'm away, so then they don't end up like looking for OP afterwards and then feel abandoned or whatever. I think that's totally fair. Then she's all like, wait, are you going? Like, wait for me, whatever, let me finish my drink and I'll be out. Like, that to me also seems kind of rude. Like, it seems, because like OP drove them both there, it seems like she just wants a ride back home. Do you know what I mean? Like, it seems like she's just interested in like, oh, but you know, I don't want to pay for a taxi or whatever. Because if she was just oblivious and she didn't realise that this person wasn't having a good time, why would she be like, oh my god, I'm sorry, like, this is where we are, or like, where are you? Like, let's meet up again and let's, you know, spend more time together. Like, she's not even trying to do that. She's just like, yeah, continue waiting in the corner by myself until I'm done. I think that's really rude as well. So I think it's fair for the OP to say, like, this person clearly doesn't give a fuck. So they drove home and then left her stuff outside. They do say, like, I feel bad about doing that, but also, like, she treated me like shit, so what the fuck. Yeah, when I read that she left this, they left her stuff outside, I was a bit like, really, like, because maybe it seems like a little bit petty or a little bit much or whatever. Like, it depends as well, like outside my place, is that still like in, like, it's still like inside a building, you know? Is it like an apartment where it's like it's still got shelter, someone's not going to steal off the street, or is it literally like a house outside, it's fucking raided and shit like that, you know? I would say that makes a difference. But they do say they feel guilty. Like, I can understand, because it's like, you know, I've had fucking enough. Like, maybe this person needs their stuff, but they don't want to be woken up in the middle of the night. They don't want to deal with it. So like, here, you can pick up your stuff freely. We don't have to interact. But then again, it can also be taken as like, really. But whatever. Not the point. But now, she has just blocked OP everywhere. This person, did they ask a specific question? They didn't ask a specific question, so I don't know what to tell you, babe. Like, are you asking me what else you could have done? Whether that was whether your conduct was reasonable, what you should do now? To be honest, it seems like good riddance. Do you know what I mean? Because she was clearly treating you like shit. Like, I know that obviously it would be better and more satisfying and you'd feel like less disrespected if she even bothered to be like, by the way, I'm so sorry about that, like I didn't realise, or it's just something, you know. But obviously she's not the kind of person that's ever going to do that. She doesn't give a fuck, do you know what I mean? I could also understand, like, from her perspective, especially if she's been drinking, and then if she feels like she's been left and then her stuff is just dumped as well, like, unclear here whether she actually picked it up or whatever. But like, I can understand from her perspective, like, you know, I'm in a mood, I'm gonna fucking block this person everywhere. Again, this was only posted a day ago, so maybe she thinks about it, calms down later, unblocks them, and then they chat about it. But honestly, OP, you're better off without people like that. Like, you seem to be at least a semi-decent person just from this one fucking post. I don't know either of you, but like, good riddance. Honestly, don't waste any more of your time. Honestly, like, what's the point? But again, there's no question that we can answer or whatever. But let's see what some of the other people think. Something is wrong with her, you don't want to be involved with that kind of problem. She was doing a bunch of coke in the bathroom. Oh my god. You noticed a red flag and dipped before feelings were hurt even further. Good on you, sir. That's what I call self-respect. Great call, move on. Yeah. I could use a slice of that. Girl, me too. Like, oh my god. But yeah. So I think that was good, huh? Those were interesting. I like that. And like, I'm not gonna lie, it does make me happy now that this video is just out there and you don't have to spend loads and loads of time editing it. Because again, even though like I feel like I can add in like so much more personality and humor when like with the way that I edit them. Check out some of the other videos on my channel to find out what I mean. But it takes so fucking long, and it's just, I don't have the time or the energy for that. So I'm happy with doing it this way, because I did feel like pretty shit before, but now I do feel better. And yeah, I'm entertained. Are you? Awesome. Now I need to like make a semi-relevant thumbnail for this. But apart from that, I think that was good. I hope you enjoyed it too. And yeah, I guess I'll see you later. All right. Okay. Bye.